Upbeat and catchy songs are helping youth learn the Anishinaabe-Moan or Ojibwe language. Sherri, Joy, and Dave share their stories and language learning journeys through Nagamoodaa.
Hi, I'm Joy Phillips. I am 33 years old from Hollowwater First Nation. I lived in Hollowwater since I was 8, and I finished school there at Wanipigow School, and then after that I went to University of Manitoba and completed my education degree there, along with my Bachelor of Arts. And then after that I worked 1 year at Wanipigow School as a teacher, and then I came to Winnipeg and took a 1-year language program, Indigenous language program at Red River. And it was there that I met Dave and Sherri and Gil and Ida, our instructor, and we came up with the idea of writing Ojibwe songs. We didn't want to just use songs that were already written and make our words fit into those songs and the melodies of those songs. So we wanted to do something different and create original Ojibwe songs for children. We knew we wanted to write these songs for children because we are second language learners. Ojibwe is not our first language, and we were learning as we were going, and we were using what was helping us to learn, which was short sentences, short songs, short phrases that we would use in everyday talking, everyday speaking in Ojibwe. So that's kind of where we came up with the idea for the songs that we made. What type of dialogue would we want to use back and forth? And yeah, so that's kind of where our whole Nagamoodaa group came from. Ojibwe is not my first language, Anishinaabe-Moan. My mom is fluent. My dad was not fluent. Both of my parents attended day school. My mom attended on day school in Hollowwater, and my dad, I'm not too sure what that school was called, but my dad attended Bad Throat Day School in Manigataugan. My mom, she was fluent in Ojibwe. My granny, she spoke it. That's the only language she spoke basically at home, and I'm very sure if my granny had lived longer, I would have known more Ojibwe than I do now, because that's the only language she spoke. For whatever reason, we know, the impacts of my mom going to school, of going to residential school, that just something internally stopped her from speaking to us in Ojibwe. And we just didn't grow up having that. We grew up with it around us when we go visit my granny, and she would talk with my mom in Ojibwe. My mom would talk to her in Ojibwe, and she would talk to her siblings, but it just wasn't spoken to us. So that's where it kind of stopped. Everyone in my family who was raised by my granny, that was their first language, including her grandchildren who she raised. They know Ojibwe and are able to speak it. However, my generation, we don't have that language piece. So that's unfortunate, and so I grew up not having that, but wanting that. So that was a big part of me, like wishing, how come we didn't have that? How come you didn't talk to us? And it kind of carried on into my adulthood of, Mom, why didn't you talk to us in Ojibwe? How come you didn't teach us? And, I don't know. But as I grew up, as I went to school, my arts degree, my major was in Native Studies, and I had a lot of opportunity to look into the reason why she didn't. And without getting into that, it kind of helped me to understand the why, and just to start to come to terms with the frustration that I had not having the language. It was not only frustration that I felt, it was kind of anger, a bit of disappointment, but letting that go and not holding on to that, and just leaving those negative emotions behind regarding my language loss, and coming to terms with that, and then going forward with the more positive outlook is something that I'm still working on, and something that I'm continuing to work on to help as I'm continuing to learn Anishinaabe-Moan. So for myself, that was a big understanding a big change I had to go through. As I continue to learn as a teacher now, I do teach at Wanipigow School in the program there, the Ojibwe program there. I taught 2 years at Riverbend School with Seven Oaks School Division. And as I'm teaching there, I'm learning with the student. I learned a lot in my Red River program, and I'm learning a lot as I'm teaching my students. I am still at a beginner intermediate level, I would say. And it's a learning process. It's a conscious decision to continue to practice learning for myself, because if I don't make that effort to practice, I'm not going to get more language. Like, I can't go to a different country and be immersed in that language and have that practice, right? I know there are some Aboriginal communities up north, First Nation communities that still speak, where the young ones still speak the languages. I have that opportunity, but it's not something that is quite accessible for myself. So it's something that I have to consciously choose, is to continue putting that effort into learning my language. So with that, I continue to have to do that in my own spare time, and continue to think of ways of how I should teach my students, different activities of what I can do with my students.
Why did you decide to take that Red River course?
The Indigenous language course at Red River, it was a year-long course. What had happened, it was totally, I always say it was meant for me to be in that course, because my intention was to get a teaching job in a Winnipeg school. However, that didn't happen, and then a cousin of mine, a family member of mine, had said she said there's this program at Red River. It's a year-long program. It's a Ojibwe language program. Check it out. And everything just worked out where I was able to get in. I was a week late entering, but it just happened and everything worked out. And so, I'm forever grateful that did happen. So at Red River there was, I think, a group of 10 or 12 of us initially. And we did a lot of learning together. That was a very awesome program. Lots of laughing, and when you're laughing, you're learning. When you're having fun, it sticks with you more. And so we did a lot of that in the program. There was lots of land-based activities as well that we were able to do, which was good. So we had the cultural part, we had the language part there. And then as something was going on, it somehow came up naturally. We started with puppets and having dialogue with the puppets, Ojibwe dialogue. And then we decided, okay, well, what should we were starting to write. And it just came up, our instructor, Ida, she had said, okay, well, let's write a song. She came up with a song, which is on our first CD. It's the Firefly song. She wrote that. And then we decided that we wanted to continue to write these original songs. So in our group, Dave, he comes from a musical family. So he had his guitar. Sherri, she's an independent singer-songwriter, so she has her background. Gil, too, himself, he was in a band. And me, I kind of fit in there where I was the one who was doing, I do enjoy singing, but I don't do anything like professionally. But what we would do, our dynamic, it just so happened it worked out really well because Dave and Sherri and Gil, they were very musical. Gil was fluent in Ojibwe, and he would say, we would ask him, okay, Gil, what does so-and-so mean? And then he would say it in Ojibwe, and then I would be at the computer writing down in Ojibwe what he is saying. So I would write down the lyrics, he would tell them to me, we would repeat to make sure we have the right words written down. And then once we had our lyrics down, then it would be Dave and Sherri who would come up with the melody, would come up with the chords and whatnot. And then we would go from there, and we would take out some words, add some words, whatever fit, whatever worked. And it was really good. Like, we would do a lot of that, back and forth bantering, and that's how it worked with us when we would create these songs. So it was a really good opportunity to have that, and it really helped us to build that relationship together, and it was a good time.
what would you like to see in terms of protecting Indigenous languages to survive and grow, as many are on the brink of disappearing?
So I think just really having a lot of programs available for flexible hours and flexible days, flexible times, maybe some that can be recorded and accessed online afterwards during a time that works for the individual. I know that there are set times where they're doing them in person or online, but if those are recorded and we can be archived and accessed, that would be awesome as well. That's something that I think, an idea that I had. But yeah, it's very important, just really having that language use, I think, and opportunity to access them online.
How do you feel about your own language journey, where you've reached, and maybe where can you go? What sort of classes or training can you take?
For myself, my personal language journey, it was really, growing up, it was just, kind of eavesdropping. The words that I knew, I would eavesdrop and pick apart the conversations, but it wasn't until, and I did do some community-based language courses. I remember that when I was in high school, but I learned so much throughout my year from my instructor, Ida Bear. I learned so much from her, and it was there that it really kickstarted my language learning, and then being an Ojibwe teacher in the Seven Oaks program, that really helped me to learn a lot more. And just being a teacher and having to right along with my students, and being open about my learning, that okay, I'm learning right along with you, so that kind of made them more comfortable with any mistakes that they made, because I would be open with the mistakes that I was making. So for myself, I'm just going to continue to learn using the songs that we're writing, using the puppets, and just the games, because when we make it fun, you make it full of laughter and enjoyment, it sticks a lot more.
How do you feel people are engaging with Nagamoodaa? Kids, adults, what are people saying about it?
Well, for myself as a teacher, when I do use the music in the classroom, we'll do the lesson, we'll do a breakdown, reading it, singing it. Maybe sometimes we have puppets along with it or some flashcards, but then afterwards when we're doing other stuff, sometimes the kids are singing it, right, by themselves without having me tell them to sing it. So it gets catchy. So if they learn the songs and we keep repeating those songs, then they're going to keep singing those songs. So it's just a matter of them also understanding what they're singing. So it's catchy. The music is something it does work.
Multicultural is located on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis.